Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. This is Boo.
Oh, yeah.
From Monsters, Inc. And he's my boo. And I'm his boo. And you're my boo.
Burp, 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 burp.
Don't you love this beautiful bracelet? I just want to give a shout out to Chantel, who made this for me. Thank you, Chantel. She didn't realize it, but I love daisies and sunflowers. So thank you, Chantel, for that. It's my favorite thing. And if you're showing up, please say hi to us. Put it in the comments. Tell me who you are in case I can't see who you are. Todd. Good
Hi.
morning. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Great.
Okay. Good. I'm doing great myself.
Yep.
So, what are we going to talk about today? Do we know?
Why don't we start with a card?
Okay. Do you want to do instant happiness?
Sure.
Okay. Pick a card, any card.
You don't need to change yourself.
That's a good one.
Who you are is already amazing, wonderful, and brilliant. You just may not realize it yet. Your efforts to improve yourself are unnecessary, like polishing a raindrop or spraying perfume on a rose. You are already here. Your thoughts about the world are just thoughts. Your ideas about yourself are just ideas. The things you've been unhappy about were just thoughts about ideas. But you are not these thoughts and ideas. As you continue to recognize this, you can stop identifying with the ideas and relax. Who you are is already amazing, wonderful, and brilliant. And who you really are is now emerging. Man, that's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm gonna have to.
Gigi is here.
Gigi, we're getting to do our Zoom call with her. She is advanced to the next level for a hypnotherapy school. So yay! I get to talk to you tomorrow.
Yay!
Woo-hoo! Oh no! Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Gigi. We're gonna send plenty of love to your employee friend. Oh, sending love. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Hi, Marianne.
Hi, Marianne. Hi, girlfriend. All right. Yeah. And so, yeah, let's send little good thoughts, good vibes.
Yep.
All right. So you don't need to change yourself. You know, sometimes people say, especially in our practice, a lot of times people will come to us and they'd say, fix me, fix me,
Fix me.
fix me. And it's like, well,
exorcise the demons.
That's right. Well, but we know that there is no fixing. It's a remembering. I think more so than anything, where we remember our wholeness, we remember our sovereignty, we remember who we are is enough. We remember that. And so I think with being a coach or a healer or a practitioner or a hypnotherapist is that we aren't here to fix people. We are here to remind people and also eliminate any of those limiting beliefs or thought patterns that have been holding them back. So I think that's a really good differentiation of fixing versus, and I found that whenever I work with clients in the past, whenever I would tell them this, I would see or notice a big shift in their feelings and in their I call it ecology. Suddenly their face would kind of shift and they would be like, oh, I don't need to be fixed. That feels like relief.
Yeah. And that comes from how people assess themselves. And if you don't have a background in, hypnotherapy or anything like that, then when something feels wrong, they think there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
And that's not true. Or they think that they are their pain.
Yeah.
Like the pain is automatically the identity. It's like, well, this is me. This is my pain. This is who I am. This is who I've been. Who would I be without my pain? Yeah.
And that's the thing. And then when you do things like comparison, and you compare yourself to other people. Well, that person is doing very well. How am I? Why am I not doing very well? I must be needing to be fixed somehow. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. And that is it's just not the case. We just let ourselves move through whatever it might be in a way that will help us to really own the truth of the situation instead of going, but I'm not where they are. And how are you ever going to get there if you keep saying to yourself, but I'm not there?
That's the ego getting in there.
Yeah. Or I'm not who I was. This is another big one. I suffered a traumatic experience, or I had a thing happen to me, and I just can't get back to where I was. And I remember struggling with that one myself and saying, but I'm not that. And it's like, well, yeah, but something better's coming. Yeah.
Good point. And yes, I've had that before. You've had that before. Clients have had that before. To where, hi, Shauna. Hi, Kenny.
Shauna. Hi, Kenny.
Kenny's going to watch this nine times. Inside joke. Yes, we had that happen before. It's like something changed, and it's like, well, I need to get back to that. I need to go back to where I was. And that's very, tempting and seductive.
Yeah.
But, you go forward with enough time, and it's like going back really isn't an option. There's only going forward. There's only redefining yourself. And the best part about it is that the thing that you thought you were losing is actually something you're gaining. You're gaining, and you just haven't quite stepped fully into the new expression of yourself, the embracing, because when you're looking back, it's almost like you're clinging.
Yeah.
But as soon as we stop doing that, it's like, oh, wait a minute, where am I now? And where am I going? And how much more of a beautiful experience is that now than ever before? And that's the beauty about being a spiritual human being, is that every step forward is a more beautiful expression of who you are than who you were, And sometimes it feels goofy if if there's fear coming up, or if the ego is throwing wonky thoughts at you, fear-based thoughts, causing you to question yourself. But it only works if you take the bait, and you don't have to take the bait. You don't have to bite the hook and let ego take you down the road of, but what about this? But let's compare here. You're like, no, that's not necessary. That's not necessary. That's someone else's path. That's not your path.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we can get locked into victimhood and get out of our choice making processes when we get stuck in that old paradigm or that old belief system or whatever. Yeah. The thing too is that we get stuck in that way because our consciousness is set like a thermometer, and it's set to whatever yesterday was. And if nothing bad happened yesterday, then we can pretty much assume that today will be basically the same, and we can work off of that same modus operandi. But if we want something more from our life, we have to sometimes really increase the temperature on that thermometer, or really decrease that temperature on that thermometer, and push ourselves out of our comfort zone, which causes us to make new choices. And I have found that if I feel like I'm not confident, or I'm a little worried, or I'm nervous, or whatever, that can cause me to just go back to yesterday's set point and not make new choices. So yeah, I don't know. You don't need to change yourself, but I do feel like getting out of your comfort zone can be really helpful. There's a lot. There's no wrong way to do it. It's just what feels most appropriate at the time, and what feels like the right thing at the time. We don't always know if we need a kiss on the cheek or a kick in the ass, and sometimes we need one or the other. Sometimes I need both. Sometimes right, one after the other. Kiss me and then kick me in the ass, or kick me in the ass and then kiss me on the cheek. But it's kind of how we need to address ourselves, with like the ego and such. It's like, do we need to be more gentle with ourselves, or do we need to be more accountable with ourselves? I think for most of the people that we attract, they've been kicking themselves in the ass a lot, beat themselves up and take over responsibility for, the world around them and the people in their lives and all that kind of stuff. Tell me, put a comment here. Are you one of those overly responsible people that, takes on too much? Because I think that, I've attracted more people like that than those people who are like, no, it's all their fault. I've really seen more people say, I'm to blame, and I have to almost work through them in a way and say, no, you're not, this is not it. And one of our coaches used to say, you got to go back to the exact nature of the wrong. And once you do, you can find out, well, this is why I got triggered. This is why this thing came up for me. This is what was really happening. And it's not necessarily to blame the other person, but to say, I've been taking on too much accountability. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
So tell us, do you have anything going on in your lives right now that you'd like just to, partner with us on right this second and see if there's some ways we can open up some thoughts or ideas? I'd love to hear from you. Let's see. So Marianne's here. We got Gigi's here. And we got Debbie. Hi. Yeah. Would you like more to add, or you want to pick a new card?
Sure.
New card?
New card.
All right.
Oh, yeah. We talked about this yesterday a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on what you want, not what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Negatives aren't processed by your unconscious mind. Example, the command, don't think of a purple hippopotamus, is difficult to obey. You can't do a don't. Talk and think about what you want in the positive. While you may want to stop being poor, single, or unhealthy, it's not useful to think about it in that way. In other words, in terms of what you don't want. It's much more helpful to think and talk in terms of what you do want. Example, I want to be healthy, wealthy, and in a happy relationship. How do you want things to be?
Yeah. That's a big one. You want to talk about that one a little bit?
Well, I talked about it yesterday at length. And I'll just...
She's driving.
Marianne's
mostly
driving.
Listening. Hi, Marianne.
Keep both hands on the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what I do a lot of times, I used to get made fun of for talking to myself, but I embrace it. It's like talking to myself
Me too.
Is a good thing.
Yeah.
Especially if your mind is, kind of being seduced by the ego or kind of negative or whatever, as long as you're talking into the direction you want to do. It's like a redirect,
Mm-hmm.
like just right here, right now, talking these positive things out loud is a redirect from my mind to continue going in this direction for this day. For everybody listening to these positive things, it's a redirect to continue going down this path, or to emphasize this path more for the rest of your day. And everything that you encounter is going to you're going to pick out the positive aspects of that experience. You're going to be slightly more likely to look for what is working and what happens for you during this day today.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in here. Look for what is working. Yeah.
And then watch this video 9 times.
Look for what is working.
9 times.
9 times.
9 times.
All right. I for this one, for me, it can be challenging, when you see what isn't, and it's so prevalent. For
sure.
To then go, oh, but I'm gonna pretend like it is. And in hypnosis, I talk about having a half step between something that's too negative but realistic, and something that's too positive but it's unbelievable. So that half step for me would be something like, if it's abundance or something like that, I'm looking forward to generating abundance in a way that feels effortless to me, instead of I am abundant. That can feel a little bit too positive and unbelievable, but the negative side of it doesn't get you anywhere either. So it's kind of finding that really nice balance. Or, gosh, I want a perfect mate. I have a perfect mate. Nope, you don't have one yet. So the brain is going to reject it. So instead you say, I'm looking forward to the possibilities of what a perfect mate would be like for me. And so you open up the idea in a very permissive way. And that's generally look at things like Ericksonian language patterns and stuff like that for that kind of thing. So if you're kind of geeky like me and want to learn about hypnosis, that is one of the things we do is we find that half step so that the mind can start to enjoy the possibilities instead of saying, well, it's here, but it really isn't yet.
Yeah. And you can, like we were talking about yesterday with like Abraham Hicks, and you can focus on what's working, and that emphasizes, and you can, you'll get a feel for where your beliefs are willing to go and where they're not willing to go, and kind of fine tune. And as you try thinking of certain things that might be too difficult to believe, it's probably not going to feel good.
Yeah.
And that's how your beliefs aren't as malleable in that area, or it might take a little bit more work in that area. Whereas if something is really easy to feel good about, I just thought of a hilarious example. If something really is good and easy to feel good about, and you want to believe in that direction, and there's no resistance to believing in that direction, then it'll feel really good to think about those things. You'll get immediate feel good feedback about feeling those things. And that's kind of like Abraham 101 right there. Abraham Hicks. If you want to take it a step further, do some hypnosis, and have more tools in the toolbox kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I thought of a funny example. Abraham Hicks talks about, think about something completely unrelated to what you're currently going through, just so you can practice feeling good about that thing, so you can move your emotional set point higher, right?
Yeah.
And one of those things for me, this is really hilarious. No matter what kind of day I'm having, now this isn't something I do every day. Okay. This is, it's a rarity, maybe every couple months or something like that. But I noticed this the last time I turned on one of my favorite movies, which was Godzilla or Gojira, like the 2014 Godzilla movie with Aaron Taylor Johnson and Michael Cranston. The best.
Bryan Cranston.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bryan Cranston. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I realized, these are really dorky movies, but they're fun. I'm like, why is it so fun sometimes? Why is Godzilla so cool? It's like, because, and I realized it's because he's not attached to anything else that I have problems with. Godzilla is freaking awesome. Godzilla. It's like,
yeah, Godzilla's Godzilla.
Can you really think about your problems when you're looking at Godzilla? I mean, so it's really about having something, and Godzilla's a hilarious example because you can't miss him, right? he's there for one, and you're not really thinking about anything else. So what is that for you? There's a lot of things on our lists that feel great or feel good, but maybe it's a guilty pleasure, but it's just different from anything else that we normally encounter. It's not attached to anything else that we don't like or that brings us down. So therefore it's easy to feel good about that and kind of let our cork rise and feel better, Yeah.
And if you're coming in right now, go ahead and say hi to us so we see who you are and we can say hi to you here. That is, I think, a great way to look at it. I also like the Abraham's thing of where you go general and you take your 10,000 foot view,
right? Instead
of staying so bogged down in the details. And Todd's great at that with me when we're doing some problem solving, and he suddenly is like, let's get out of that because it's just too much. And I like going general and using affirmative types of statements on things, and saying truthful or neutral types of things as well. So I kind of feel like doing a little, see if I can do this type of thing. So yeah, please write in the comments, tell me who you are. And if you have a problem, I'd love to solve it. We'd love to solve your problems today.
Check out the hooks when my DJ revolves.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh, I thought of Ice Ice Baby this morning.
Well,
You got a problem, yo, I'll solve it.
I think you
Yeah,
phrased it that
I think
way,
I did.
and that's why I thought of it. Yeah.
So, all right, let's think about just being general. I enjoy being human. Well, that might be a loaded statement. How about this? I am human. I am human. And when I'm human and doing human things, I enjoy certain things in my life. And when I enjoy those things, it makes me feel good. And I like feeling good. And when I feel good, it makes other things around me seem so much more easy. They're easy, they're effortless. And I like it when things are easy. I like it when things are fun. I like knowing that later on the day, Todd and I are probably going to do something fun. And I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of just feeling a little bit more excited just thinking about it, just considering it. And I like considering the possibilities of things that I don't even know yet. I don't even know what it's going to be, but I know that any time that I spend with him is always a good time. And I love that idea that as I open up my process of feeling better things keep coming to me. I know my mind is in that allowing place when I feel good, and I like feeling good. I enjoy opening up to knowing that good things are on their way to me. And I know that all of this is happening now. So as you listen to that, right, I wasn't specific. I didn't say, well, this thing has to work out just right, perfect. No, I just open up to ideas, possibilities, potentials, that it's easy, that it's fun. That's it. And just hearing, like, how did you feel when I was saying
I started to feel better hearing those things, and I started to feel like tiny little mini sparks of ooh, yeah, that could be fun. Ooh, yeah, that could be fun. Just because the suggestions you were saying generally were good, and they kept kind of compounding, and they kind of kept sparking me. And as you're talking, I'm staring out the window at that tree over there, and I love trees. I'm an earth sign. And I started to, I don't know, appreciate the tree more. And I was like, man, I love trees. And hearing you just kept talking into a positive direction, and not only are the things you're saying positive, but the things you're saying are guiding my mind and not giving me any wiggle room to go down a negative path.
Right.
Because I'm just hearing those positive things over and over, and they're kind of compounding. How fast they compound, well, that may depend on me or the day or whatever, but I bet the more I talk myself in that direction, the better, the more I'm going to keep sparking, and the more I'm going to keep feeling good in that direction.
Yeah. And if you feel that spark and you feel a thread and you're like, ooh, and I love trees, and I like how feeling good about trees makes me feel good. And I like going out into the trees, and maybe that'll be a fun thing to do. Let's go out in the trees. Maybe we don't even have to go that far. We could just walk outside and just take a moment and take a few deep breaths and look at some trees. Like once you find that, and smell the trees. And once you find that thread of good feeling, then you can just amplify it and get wild with it. And I suggest, recording yourself in your phone or whatever kind of recording device that you have, and just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And when you're going down a way that isn't as productive, when the spark stops. And then you start going down, but then this is happening, and so, well, I tried that, or I did that, or these things. It's like, no.
If it feels like a but kind of a statement, you made a wrong turn.
Yeah, right. I have had clients in the past who, they've gotten stuck in they'll tell me all the ways that it doesn't work. I'll maybe give them a suggestion. And that's why it's good in hypnosis when you're coaching with people, to not give them the answers. They need to find their own answers, because then that way they won't maybe come back later and say, well, that didn't work. You told me to do this and that didn't work. Instead we say, okay, well, where could it work? What ideas could come to you? If you did know, what could you try next? Or trying as presupposition for failure. So what would you like to do next? And that to me can be really helpful, because I'm not just giving them answers. When somebody's stuck in victimhood and they believe they're outside of their choice, if I give them an answer, they're going to give you a rebuttal every time. They're going to rebut. And it's like, okay, I got to stop giving you answers because this isn't working. Now you give me the answers. And I think that that's always very helpful. I went down a different path than what we were talking about, but it is, I think, a good one because we get stuck in that when we start to flow out like this. The ego wants to pop in there and go, but did you reel it back in, step back 10,000 feet, and then go back to feeling the possibilities, the openness. Ginger says, I need my problem solved. And she said, what great information. Thank you, Gingy. Gingy. Anything on those things? Yay, nay?
I just had thoughts about identifying what types of when a client's in victimhood or when they're in behaviors, but it's going down
another road.
It's more of a business kind of a talk, but
okay.
We could identify. Excuse me. We can identify for ourselves when we are in those, in a victim state or in a resourceful state. If you have clients, if you work with clients, like you were saying, if you know where your client is at, and if they're not, you said it all. You said it all. You give too much answers when they need to kind of break out of it. I feel like I don't need to go down that.
Okay, so when we're thinking about, and I would again highly recommend you go out to Abraham, go to YouTube, Abraham Hicks, look up Rampage of Appreciation. That will push you into a good feeling place, and play with the idea yourself, just being open to possibilities.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to feel better, show yourself how willing you are to feel better by how you guide your thoughts, and that means not putting any attention, not succumbing on the fear-based thoughts or any thought that feels like it is a self-limiting choice. Prove to yourself, practice choosing something better that feels better in the face of something that does not feel good. You are immediately out of victimhood as soon as you exercise your choice in that regard. Maybe that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Just needed to go general. See?
Yeah.
Something that doesn't feel good. Do something that feels better in the face of something that doesn't feel good, instead of just going along with the thing that doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because that's what I think that's our tendency.
But don't fight the thing that doesn't feel good, because then you just add to it. It has to actually, you can't muscle your way through it. Yeah. You actually have to look around and be playful and allow yourself to rest on something that does feel better, that does feel maybe more neutral at first instead of bad, and then slightly better instead of bad.
Yeah, I think that's huge, because if we ruminate too closely to the thing that is the problem, then it's very, very difficult to pop out of it. So popping out of it is much more natural, much more easy when you pull off of the thing. I don't think I'm using that term properly, but pull away from that thing that has been giving you the most difficulty. Patricia, hi Patricia.
Hi, Patricia.
And guys, please feel free, write comments, tell us how you feel about what we're saying. And then if you have any things you've got coming up for you, we'd love to help you solve any challenges you got going on. We are, as you know, open our hypnotherapy training school, certification school, and we are enrolling students now, and we're very, very excited about it. Go out to hypnotherapyschool.net and just fill out the enrollment application, just so we can get you in the student list. We do have a 20% discount until December 1st. So when registration closes. So would love to have you become students of ours. This is fun. I did not know that I was going to be a hypnotherapist when I went to my hypnotherapy training. I just thought I was going to help myself heal my anxiety.
I didn't know that I was going to be a hypnotherapist either. That was way after I met Kira that she trained me to be a hypnotherapist. And then, years ago when we had our hypnotherapy clinic, We each saw, I saw 2,000 clients,
Yeah.
and she saw 2,000
Yeah.
clients, and helped each of those people
Yeah.
one-on-one with their anything that they had going on, mostly personal development, self-esteem, and things like that. Look who it is.
Hey, it's Herbie.
Herbie.
Hi, Herbie.
Hey, Herbie.
So good to see you, buddy. Herbie's awesome.
BillingSuccess.com.
Yeah, great.
He has
great
got
friend.
some cool stuff going on.
Yep.
Definitely check out his website.
Check him out. He's written children's books with his kids. He's written books. He is a great guy.
Dynamic fellow.
Yeah. And you see how our mood lifts when we, see
we're
friends.
triggering ourselves into feeling better and better. And every person who comes down is like, hey.
Oh my gosh. Please, if you're jumping on, please say hi to us. And if you have something that you've got going on, we'd love to hear about it. It doesn't have to be heavy duty. It can be something light. You might want just some connection around, and we can do that right now in our session here. We are unscripted, so we're just kind of letting it flow and do whatever it needs to do. Hey, Eileen, I sent you the link in an email yesterday, so hopefully you got that for hypnotherapyschool.net. And happy Friday to you, darling. Wow. Okay, so you want to do one more instant happiness, and then we'll see if anybody has anything going on they'd like to just partner.
I'm feeling better and better.
I'm feeling great.
About you. I'm just gonna read all these cards. You already had that one.
Oh.
I already read that one.
Oh, I didn't shuffle these very well.
I already had that one. That's amazing. I'm picking all the ones we already had just recently. Okay. You are here for a reason. You have a purpose. The universe is a complex, dynamic system, and everything in it plays a crucial part, including you. You may not know consciously what your part is, but you definitely have one. Every human being has unique gifts to give the world, regardless of whether they know this fact or not. You can get clues about what your purpose is by discovering what you love doing, then doing that. You don't need to figure out what it is. Just relax and trust that it will emerge as you get on with the adventure of your life. Isn't it good to know that you're here for a reason?
Isn't it? By the way, that's generally a hypnotic word, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It causes us to have a unconscious yes response, just so you know. Wow. All right. So you are here for a reason. Do you know what your reason is? Write it in the comments. Tell me what you feel.
Yeah. What's your reason?
What's your reason?
It could be just what feels best today.
Yeah.
What's your reason for being here today that feels fantastic to you?
Yes. And if you don't want to write in the comments, that's okay. Just think about it. Just consider it for a moment, because every one of us, and I really had a hard time with this when I was first initially working with my own self-worth and that kind of thing. But one of my teachers, she told me, she said, without your unique energy in this universe, the universe would cease to exist. And for someone who felt relatively unimportant, to hear that, it wasn't that it was hard to believe or anything. It was actually so relieving. I felt so loved in that moment. I felt so valuable and valued. And I think that all of us are that, without your unique energy added to this universe, it would cease to exist. And I think on an atomic level, I think that that's also true to some extent. And so I don't know. I just feel really good about
Totally
that.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Everybody's here for a purpose. And sometimes that purpose change, and it's, the ego wants to make it into a thing or add structure to it. But I had a recent insight about that. And it's not any one thing. It's more just about the purpose is just experiencing yourself in a joyful way. It's like expressing your light in a positive way. That will and it has changed over the years. You've been really into this and that was a passion, and then you've been really into that. It's okay. It evolves. It's supposed to, and just staying on track with feeling with what those feelings are and expressing them, whether it is a job or a role you have or something or a hobby or a business or whatever. I mean, it's about just staying with that inside out approach, which is everything we've been talking about. It's the Abraham stuff. It's staying out of victimhood. It's not reacting to circumstances. It's being proactive about where you're wanting to feel, right? This is cause right here. This is cause, that's effect out there. So you can feel good about effects and appreciate and be grateful, and then it reinforces your cause. Or you can just focus exclusively on the cause. Where do you want to be, and feeling better and better about that. And then it enhances the effect, right? You draw in abundance because you're not in lack, you're in cause, you're in deliberate practicing of feeling better and emphasizing what is there and expressing what does feel good, like we're doing right now.
Feels so good.
This feels fun to us.
Yeah.
And this is something I enjoy doing. Yeah. Do I have to make time for it and schedule it? Yeah, sure. Because otherwise it might get away from me. Right. But I know it's a good thing. Yeah. Just like, eating well and going for a walk every once in a while, things that are generally good for me that do feel good when I do them, but I got to make sure that I put it on the schedule or just put it on my to-do list so that I do it. And then once I do those things, they do feel good. They do raise up my vibration more and more.
Yeah. Let's see what some of these comments are. And I really want to get to this one. Shauna says, what's the best way to let go of extra weight, as I've been working on this? Marianne says, I'm a force for good. Yes, you are. And humor and laughter and love and light. And you're just awesome, Marianne. Eileen says, atomic level, good stuff. Oh, Patricia, you are my friend. You're my friend. All right. And Eileen, expressing my light in a positive way. Yes. So let's go back up to Shawnee here. What's the best way to let go of extra weight? Todd and I lost combined, what was it? 60 pounds or something?
Yeah. I mean, and then it was more than that even.
Yeah. Over the year. And I lost about 30 pounds. He lost about 40 pounds, something like that. And our focus was not about losing weight. Our focus was on eliminating inflammation and just having a pooched out gut whenever I eat certain foods or the wrong foods. And, we talked to a dietitian about it, and we learned about what types of foods cause inflammation and started eliminating them. Yeah. And that basically led us to losing weight, essentially, That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's it.
And as far as like having the gumption to do it, having the fortitude and the willpower and all that stuff, there's something that is, so your primitive brain, your limbic system, that part of your brain that would keep you in survival, to say, oh, I need to eat in order to, live, to make it through the next day, right? That part of your brain could inform your eating choices right now. Your willpower brain is a lot younger than that part of your brain. So your willpower part is not as advanced, not as dedicated to your survival. So it's not going to overrank or override your limbic system. So instead, and other parts of your brain that are more, or that are elder, the elder parts of your brain, right? So what we do is we don't try to, I gotta wrestle my consciousness to the ground to make myself eat better. It's not that. And it also may not be eating. It may not be the food thing for you either. We don't know that. It could be hormonal. It could be other things that are going on that we can't really address. Now, when you look at something like hypnosis or using hypnosis, we would ask the subconscious mind to adjust in a way that will help the entire body to release any excess weight. See, because I'm the hypnotist, I'm not a dietitian. I don't have your test results from your blood work. I don't have your test results from your hormonal work. I don't have the ability to give you a pill and say, take this. And I don't know exactly what it is, but your subconscious mind does. So when as a hypnotist, what we want to do is work with your subconscious mind so that it shifts in the way that it needs to shift, even though we don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes much sense, but in our training program, obviously we get more into that. But the main thing is giving yourself permission to be where you are, because the more you do that, the more you feel a level of relief. And whatever that void is that might be needing to be filled by that extra weight, which I don't know if that's what it is or not, will start to relax a little bit and open up to possibilities of funneling in other things. And I think when we look at something like purpose, just like with this card, reason for being here, when you focus more on that, other things, other habits start to fall to the wayside. And that's my perspective.
That's great. And I was just going to add that, when I've done weight loss in the past years for some external purpose, like just to look better, for example, remember, that's just focusing on effect. Weight loss is the net result of, it's the effect of doing a lot of the right things on the inside first, So I think when people focus on weight loss just for the sake of weight loss, then they run the risk of doing things that might not be all that good for them, health-wise and things like that. Like we said, we focused on getting rid of the inflammation. So that was the cause. We were putting things in our body like junk food that consistently that wasn't doing anything, and some foods were hurting us more than others. So
we didn't know. We took an allergy test. We learned what the allergies were that we had that we didn't know we had. Like he had one with barley or something, and and you look at the ingredients on things and you're like, holy crap, all this stuff that I'm allergic to is in this thing, and I just want to have a soda, or something, whatever it might be. Yeah. And or you think, oh, this is really good bread, like Ezekiel bread. It's sprouted and all this kind of, and it's and then you think, oh, it's really healthy and good for me. I found out I'm allergic to it. So it was causing inflammation in my gut. And so it's just learning about yourself that there may be some things at the same time, it's like, well, can't hypnosis then all of a sudden make you not be allergic to those things? In some cases, yes, there are some protocols for that. But for me, I would suggest doing the elimination thing first, and then looking at maybe doing some allergy types of stuff with hypnosis. But anyway, that's going farther down but Shauna says, totally makes so much sense. Thank you so much. Yay, Shauna. And I love what Ginger said in response as well. Empathy, but on belly weight to protect themselves. So, and I think what she's saying there is, maybe I'm not quite sure, Ginger. Maybe you're saying that people are feeling empathy and they're putting that in their belly to create separation or create a boundary. Maybe that's what you're saying. And I think that there have been times where I definitely thought the same thing for myself. It's like, well, and it certainly is. Yes. I could go down this road pretty far because I've struggled with weight for a good part of my life. And so I could certainly say that I did use my body weight as a way to create a boundary. And she's clarifying, being empathetic, we are too open, and it's a boundary protection to add abdominal weight. And
I'm going to add that in my experience, and I'm not a dietitian here, okay, disclaimer, extra weight is usually about what we have. It's usually about unintegrated emotion. Just things that are not integrated yet. And I think that kind of covers maybe what Ginger's saying to an extent. Mm-hmm.
She's going more, I'm staying protected, and you're saying more eating
Well, why do you need protection?
Because as an empath, we can tend to pick up other people's emotions, and it is a way of protection. Okay. But what he's saying is more of, owning it in a different way and saying, okay, well, I need to integrate this particular emotional charge. And a great book for you to learn more about that is called The Presence Process by Michael Brown. So take a look at that. I think that can be really helpful.
Super helpful.
Yeah. Extra weight. Oh, Eileen says, extra weight, integrated emotions. So true. Okay. Well, how do you think procrastination is a form? Hold on. We've got one more here. Patricia says, do you think procrastination is a form of fear? Todd?
Yeah.
Thanks for that detail. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. What is it a fear of, Todd?
It's mild, right? Just hunt for what game your ego is playing with yourself on that one. Why do I wait to the last minute? What am I getting out of waiting to the last minute? What are the secondary gains there? Why do I need to do it? Well, just list out the reasons on paper, because I feel like I won't be able to do it unless I have a deadline that's right up on my calendar, kind of thing. Well, that's a belief, right? Why do you have that belief? What's it protecting? What are you getting out of it? Just hunt for it. Hunt for what those limiting beliefs from your ego. Why do you think you need to procrastinate? Mm-hmm. What would it be like if you were proactive instead of reactive and procrastinating? It's usually, I guess, if we want to keep it simple, procrastination's usually, in my historic experience, is like afraid of doing something I had resistance to doing, so I kept putting it off because I was afraid of doing it. Why were you afraid of doing it? Procrastination itself, it's a behavior in response to being afraid of doing or not doing something else. It's almost like an avoidant type of behavior. And that's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah. And that's the thing I think is so powerful when you learn how to, and I think you already know how to do this, is dissociate yourself from the situation a bit. And like you said, hunt for it, because that's where you get into a much more powerful state. And you can just go, okay, well, what am I really doing here? And asking yourself those questions empowers you to create a new result. And if you just like, and it's okay. Like sometimes we label procrastination as a bad thing, but you might just have that process. That might just be your process. Yeah. And if that's your process, that's perfectly wonderful.
Sure.
Don't make it bad if it's not.
Right.
Don't make yourself wrong if you're not, if that's just your way. I think that when we look at doing homework and stuff like that, when we were kids, we were taught that if you did it this way, that was wrong.
Yeah. It could just be conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
It might not have a lot of roots to it. Mm-hmm. So you could just go hard against the grain and say, okay, what would it be like for me to practice not procrastinating?
What if I do it right now? Yeah. I have the thought, I do it right now. What happens then? And get information.
And then get information and look for what the mind produces in terms of limiting beliefs and write them down. And then you get to hunt, and then your ego is right there on paper.
Yeah.
And and then you get to go hard against the grain. You get to take radical responsibility. I mean, there's so much to be gained, so much to be gained by practicing and just learning more about how this works up here and how to get more out of it in a very positive way.
Yeah. Let's see some, yep. Asked and answered. Yep. Procrastination is fear. Herbie says it always comes back to fear. False evidence appearing real, right, Herbie? You and I have had good talks about that. I would go for the next hour and a half, I think, to talk about that. I love this interaction. I'm so grateful for you guys for showing up here and being with us. I want to train you guys, get you some hypnosis certifications. I think that would be awesome. Hypnotherapieschool.net. Check us out. Get enrolled. We also have a how to make your first $10,000 as a clinical hypnotherapist free audio and PDF. I re-listened to it today. I'm like, is this still as good as I thought it was? It's still as good as I thought it was. And get on our email list. We'd love to learn all about you.
There are no pre-qualifications to become a hypnotherapist. Nope. Anyone can do it. And we have made being hypnotherapists ourselves. Now we're only instructors, but when we were hypnotherapists running a clinic, you know, over the course of how many years we made over
lots.
$250,000.
No, I would say more than that, because we were making about $100,000 a year plus. So we were able to have everything that we needed and be able to do what we needed to do, and live a really happy, good, healthy life. And I will say we got burned out because there was just so many people who needed help. And so that was one part of it. Other factors as well, but ultimately there are people out here that need you and your unique style. We have our own unique style. And I don't try to teach that out of anyone. No. We just teach you how to get people into a state that will help them to transform their experience and also help you to use it as well. As a matter of fact, I used a hypnosis audio that I had made during this the past event because I couldn't sleep at night, you know, hotel stuff. And I popped it in and I was like, it's out cold. And I finally actually went into that REM state to get revitalized in my body where I just could not sleep prior. So things like that make major differences in life. So
quality of your experience is enhanced with extra knowledge and then other people's experience. And we're one of the very few schools that offers business marketing training. So you know exactly how to set up your practice and get clients and make money and make a living with it. So
yeah, very, 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 very different than everyone else. I am so grateful for you, Eileen.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for joining us. I don't think I have any other questions in here.
I didn't see any others.
I didn't see any other ones. But hey, you know, I think we're going to do these every weekday. So we'll see you back on Monday at around 11:11. We're trying to be cool like that. And so I hope you all have a beautiful weekend.
Yeah.
I've been so excited. We get to talk to Gigi tomorrow because she's filled out her application. We've moved her up to the next step. So I'm excited to get to talk to you, Gigi. And you two.
She says you two rock.
Thank you, Patricia. You rock as well, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Kara Schaefer.
I'm Todd Schaefer.
And we will see you on Monday for some more unscripted time.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. Head out to hypnotherapieschool.net. We'd love to learn more about you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.